Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Points of Articulation. I'm your host Dave, and if you're new to the channel, welcome everybody. Today I'm looking at the Star Wars X-Wing Droid Tri-Fighter Expansion Pack, released in 2020. This droid was first seen in Star Wars Episode 3, The Revenge of the Sith. Now this is one of my favorite droid starfighters for the Separatist faction, not only in X-Wing, but in the whole canon of Star Wars. They are small and they are interceptors. They're designed to go after other vessels and just wipe them away. And you can see the size here is very small. I might be jumping the gun here, but the size of this miniature is about 1 inch. That's it. I'm pretty sure a quarter is bigger than this thing. So it is very small, and they're pack hunters. So it's pretty interesting. The Separatist, love or hate the prequels, you gotta give it to the droid faction. They had a lot of interesting vessels and machines and droids that were built specifically to do one or two things, and that's it. And this is one of them. It's designed to kill. End of story. And it's a great little ship. So if you're wondering where I got this bad boy, I picked it up at Red Seal Gaming, located in South Amboy, New Jersey. It's an awesome little miniatures tabletop game store. If you're in the area, go check it out. If not, check out the website, check out the Discord, tell them Dave from the Points of Articulation sent you. I'll put a link in the description below. But anywho, let's get back to this video. So for the ship's size, like I mentioned, it's about 1 inch. There's not a lot going on here. However, as we've been seeing from Fantasy Flight games, even if something is very small, it's really detailed, and it's the case here. It's beautiful, and we're going to have some nice close-up shots later on in the video. So we definitely have a lot to get to today. So if you're new to my channel, what I like to do is take my time and go over the dials, tokens, and cards, and even the rules, show everybody at home what we're getting in a set, and then we're going to have a nice close-up look at this mold, show everybody at home what we're buying, look at the paint, put on the stand, compare it to some other pieces, and then we'll be done. So let's get moving. And now it's time for my favorite part in these videos, the dial token roll call. First up, 1 maneuver dial. 3 ship tokens, which are double-sided. 3 calculate tokens. 1 disarm token. 1 evade token. 1 stress token. 1 strain token. 1 critical damage marker. 1 fearful prey condition marker. 5 charge tokens. 2 target locks, number 10. 1 buzz droid swarm. 3 ship ID tokens, number 10. And finally, 1 dial ID token. So that covers all the dials and tokens. Now let's take a quick look at those cards. Now looking at the cards, let's begin with the ship cards today. Like in all my videos, I will read the name of the card. If you'd like to pause the video and read all the stats below, by all means, go right ahead. First up, we have DIS T81, DIS 347, Flak Orfok Prototype, Fearsome Predator, Separatist Interceptor, Calicoid Interceptor, and finally, Buzz Droid Swarm. So that deals with all the ship cards. Now let's take a look at the upgrade cards. Now looking at those upgrade cards, first up we have Marge Sabo Closure, Fire Control System, Discord Missiles, XX23 S-Thread Tracers, 2 Independent Calculations, and finally we have Intercept Booster Attached and Intercept Booster Detached. So that does it for all the upgrade cards. Now let's take a quick look at those quick build cards before taking a look at the rules. For the quick build cards, here's the first one, and here's the second one. And finally, before we get to those rules, here we have a rules card for Fearful Prey. Nice. So now let's take a look at those rules. Alright, looking at the rules, on page 1, we have all the components that come with this particular expansion, including tokens, cards, and plastic pieces to assemble the base. For page 2 and 3, we have some new rules. Mostly it talks about standardized, negative recurrent charges, strain tokens, devices, structures, and also a nice write-up about Buzz Droid Swarms. Finally, on page 4, we have our copyright crap and credits. So that does it for the rules. So now, let's start looking at this beautiful ship. Alright, now we're finally looking at this beautiful ship. Now, if you might have noticed, I am zoomed in already. And that's because this ship is so small, I had to get as close as I normally do for the close-up, just to look at the thing. And as you can see, there is a lot of detail on here, but I'm jumping the gun. For a little size comparison here we have a dice. Like a normal one you would get in a board game, and you could see the size here. Just amazing stuff. Pretty cool, right? So anyway, you guys know what's coming with something this small. That's right, the pen's coming back. So we have a lot going on here, and there's some spots I want to point out, and then we're just going to look at the mold real quick. So of course in the back we have our engines, which look pretty nice. You can see they are recessed in and painted, which is amazing. Coming to the front here in the center section, we have our communications array. Now this is used for them to talk to each other, and also to get information from, say, a droid control ship or a leadership. So that's pretty cool. Also in here is the main reactor of the vessel. So sort of a weak point, but pretty cool. Moving to the front, we have our 2 photoreceptors for the eyes, which is a nice touch. And then a nice long nose laser cannon, which is molded very nice. Excellent, right? Now coming up on these arches, we do have some beautiful detailing. Each one of these sides right here, if you can see in this triangle formation, these are little laser cannons, and this piece right here usually would come off of this little track that is supposed to go from here to here, and it would let these little laser cannons pivot and rotate. So not only is it shooting from the front, but you can shoot from the sides in different directions as well. So fascinating. And I love the design here. Very nice, very detailed. Excellent stuff. Now on the bottom, if I could get a nice shot for you guys, we could see the 2 missiles down here. Or missiles. People say it differently. But very nicely detailed. And these bad boys are the ones that hold the buzz droids. So very nice. You can see they're a different color, but it works. So anyway, let's go over the actual mold, since those are all the major parts. There's no pilot or cockpit. It's all right here, the droid brain. So pretty decent. Now first let's start here. We have our laser barrels. Now for the size, this is done nicely in my opinion. Sure, the ones on the sides here are just like little cones. But, you know, I give them credit for adding them anyway. This is so small, it's amazing with all this detailing on here. It's really blowing my mind. Looking at the face here, if we want to call it that, we have our 2 red eyes, which are beautifully molded. You can see they're around it, sort of like a gray alien. Very nice. You can see the detailing in this structure here. All the curves. Very aerodynamic looking. Pretty neat. And then in here we have these gear pieces. Very nice. I love the detailing on here. They didn't even need to do half this stuff. Like, look in here. The black wash cleans onto all this and really makes it pop. Coming to the back, again, more detailing. And one cool thing is, it has 3 fins, which is pretty cool. And there's actually molding on them as well. You can see some raised sections, and that's on both sides. So pretty nice. Excellent detailing. Now before I look at the actual arches, let's take a moment and look at this reactor. As you can see, we have some raised molding, recesses for the reactor itself and communications array, and a lot of negative space, which I love. Very nicely done. I think this came out amazing. What do you guys think for the size? Is this good or not? Let me know. So moving on to the actual arches, as I like to call them, we could see tons of line work, some recesses, and a lot of beautiful molding. You can see all the paneling here. Just an amazing job. Great stuff. And it comes down to this side as well. Like, look at that. Amazing. Very nice. And on the bottom, let me just try and hold it. On the bottom, again, beautiful line work. And these missiles look amazing. We can see the head here. And it looks like a multi-stage rocket. Excellent stuff. Very nice. You can see some beautiful designs there. It's not really hollow, where the propulsion would come out. But the shape of it for the size, it's great. Of course, on the bottom, we have our peg port for the stand as well. And some beautiful molding down here, especially underneath the droid's head. Fantastic. Look at that. Excellent. So, well done. Now, one of my favorite parts on here is actually the engines. And we could see how they are recessed and painted. We have that little yellow and black there. But I like how they're cut here. Let me see. There we go. You can see how they're molded there. That is amazing. And we have this nice protruding centerpiece right here. So very nice. I love the engines. Lots of cool line work with some designs in there. Very nice and very unique. Awesome. So that's everything I have to say about the mold. Hopefully I covered everything. So now let's take a look at the paint. And now looking at that paint on the Star Wars X-Wing Droid Tri-Fighter, this baby features about 9 or 8 different colors. I know it's hard to believe on something so small, but hear me out. The first color we have is this nice light gray. It's the main color of the ship. You can see it on the face, on all the arches, and even on the underneath. Looking good. Moving on from there, we do have this nice dark blue. Now, the light gray and dark blue color scheme of the CIS is probably one of my favorites out of all Star Wars. I think it looks great. I don't know. I just like it. I know some people hate the Separatist, but I dig it. I think they're awesome. Now, moving on from there, we do have dark gray for the laser cannons, the nose laser cannon, the reactor casing, the missiles on the bottom, and different little segments here and there. All in all, it looks great. Moving on, we do have red for the eyes of the droid, yellow for the engines. Mixed with that yellow, we do have a nice black, which looks sick. Black is also here and there on the main body. It's not much of it, but it has it where it counts. So that's pretty cool. Moving on from there, we do have glossy black for the communications / reactor right there in the center, which is pretty cool. And that's basically it for the glossy black. Moving on from there, we do have a beautiful wash, which is sort of glossy. You can see it in all these little nooks and crannies, right where my pen is. You can see the light just shifting in there, especially this panel here. It is amazing. All these little lines and little molded sections all fill up with this black wash, and it really makes the detail on the model pop. And that's awesome. I think you see it best when you look at these hard to see sections. Like right here, all these little nooks and crannies are starting to get filled up by that wash. And you really see all these hidden details. Especially on the bottom, that nobody ever hardly sees. You can see this beautiful design here. Excellent stuff. So that's everything I have to say for the mold and the paint. Hopefully I covered everything. So now let's put this baby on a stand, compare it to some other pieces, and then we'll be done. And just like other X-Wing vessels, you get 2 rods you connect to make a nice pylon here. Put it on like so, grab your ship. Remember to be gentle. These could be very fragile. Slide it on like so. And just like that, everybody, you are good to go. And now for a quick size comparison with the Star Wars X-Wing Droid Tri-Fighter seen in the center. First, on the right-hand side, we have the Republic Y-Wing, the ARC 170, and finally on the left-hand side, we have the Jedi Starfighter. As you can see, these are all in relatively close scale, and you can see how small the Droid Tri-Fighter is compared to all these vessels. Just like in Revenge of the Sith, when one of the ARC 170s was trailed by a couple of these, you can see the size difference here. Amazing stuff. And for an added bonus size comparison with the Droid Tri-Fighter seen right here, on the right, moving all the way to the left, we have some other X-Wing Separatist vessels. First, we have the Vulture Droid, the Hyena Droid, and finally, Jango Fett's Slave 1. And oh my god, spoiler alert! If you haven't been watching The Mandalorian, when the Slave 1 came into the planet's atmosphere and drove by, goosebumps. That's all I'm saying about that. Amazing work on that show, and an amazing ship. Yes, it's just a remold of the Slave 1 we got time and time again, but it's Jango Fett's version. I love the paint scheme on there. Very nice. And for our final size comparison with the Droid Tri-Fighter seen on the right, on the left we have the TIE RB Heavy. Another magnificent ship. And like always everyone, if you're interested in seeing any of the ships I talked about, if I reviewed them, the links will be in the description below. And that does it today for my review of the Star Wars X-Wing Droid Tri-Fighter, released in 2020. This expansion gives you everything you need to add one Droid Tri-Fighter to your Separatist faction of X-Wing. And I'm not gonna lie, I love this ship. You know, I don't think there's been one X-Wing or Armada vessel that I ever put down. You know, Fantasy Flight Games does an amazing job with these ships, and this is no exception for being just under 1 inch in length. It is amazing. As we've seen, it has tons of tiny little details and molding and line work, and the paint works with it to give it that unique Separatist color scheme, and the black wash just fills in all the little panel lines and really makes this tiny piece pop. And that's basically everything I have to say about this ship. In short, I love it. I think it looks beautiful. As a miniature collector, I really recommend this to anybody who's a fan of the Separatist faction. Yes, it's small, but if you buy all the other Separatist vessels, they're almost all to scale, which is pretty impressive to have. So that's everything I have to say about this killer droid today. I really hope you guys enjoyed my video. If you did, smash that like button. And if you want to see new reviews every week, subscribe. Again, everyone, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch my content. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody. Time to play Squadrons.